Hello guys, I am Justin and welcome back to my channel Just Gone Riding. Following the successful launch of the 2020 Yamaha Tenere 700, Kawasaki have also finally launched their brand new 2022 KLR 650 just last month. Are we actually seeing the resurgence of real dual-purpose bikes? As you may have known, I am a big fan of all these beautiful and back-to-basics dual-purpose bikes. I myself own a XRV 650 1988 Africa Twin. Alright, coming back to the KLR 650. After 34 years, finally Kawasaki have revised, revamped and relaunched a brand new KLR 650. KLR 650 only saw two models iteration. The first model was launched back in 1987, that was about 34 years ago. And after that, the second model was launched back in 2008, and that was 13 years ago. And after that, Kawasaki stopped production of the bike back in 2018, and after a 3-year hiatus, it's finally back. Now that Yamaha and Kawasaki have launched their middleweight dual-purpose bikes, are we actually seeing a resurgence and coming back of these do-it-all back-to-basics dual-purpose bikes, especially by the Japanese Big Four, which is Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda, and also Kawasaki? What are Honda and Suzuki going to do? Are they gonna launch new motorcycle models which is in similar segment to these middleweight dual-purpose bikes? Are they gonna follow the footsteps of Yamaha and Kawasaki? I really hope they do. Whatever it is, the ball is at their court now. Alright, stay on and find out further on my video analysis after this. Alright, let us talk a little bit about the current trend of motorcycles. What's with the current trend where all manufacturers are just focusing on the big ADV bikes, the so-called adventure bikes? At one end, you have motorcycle manufacturers focusing on all these big bikes, and on the other spectrum, you have manufacturers purely focusing and launching dirt bikes. Because of this pivots towards the big ADV bikes and pure dirt bikes, what's happening to the market segment in between, which is the dual-purpose bikes? I believe a lot of manufacturers have totally ignored these dual-purpose bikes until Yamaha came up with their Yamaha 2020 Tenere 700. For me, growing up in the 80s and 90s, the bikes that I know of are basically all dual-purpose bikes, because during those times, it's all about dual-purpose bikes. You have Africa Twin, you have the RD07 Africa Twin XRV 750, and then you have your Suzuki Dr. Big, the huge single thumper, DR700, the DR800. Beautiful bikes, also a Dakar bike. And heck, come on, even at that time, BMW had the best dual-purpose bike ever. The BMW R100 GS, beautiful bike, legendary bike, and yet again, it was also a Dakar rally bike. So what's happening with all these manufacturers nowadays? I don't understand. There is definitely a huge market and a huge demand for all these back to basics, true to the purpose, dual-purpose bikes. The current dual-purpose bikes, the so-called dual-purpose bikes that we have now in the market, they are totally bikes advertised as dual purpose, but most of the time it's just geared and tuned towards on-road riding. That's it. And let's talk a little bit about 2020 Yamaha Tenere 700. As you all know, it received a lot of rave reviews, positive reviews, highly regarded by riders and also the bike reviewers. You can find a lot of all these reviews on the YouTube channel. I won't go into details about Yamaha Tenere 700. But what I want to highlight here is that the Tenere 700, true to its name, it is a no-holds-barred, back-to-basics, highly versatile and great off-road bike. It has no fancy TFT display and no fancy electronics to get into your riding experience. So for me, it is a real rider's bike. Alright, now let's come back to Honda and Suzuki. What have they been doing for the past few years, or say for the past 10 years? Yes, true, they have launched the new Africa Twin, the CRF 1000 back in 2018. They had an anniversary model, a 30 years anniversary model in the form of the Adventure Sports. And in 2020, they launched a model update called the CRF 1100. However, Honda had played it safe by throwing in just a parallel twin engine for the Africa Twin. As we all know, the original Africa Twins all came with V-twin engines, and it's a very grunty and a torquey engine. There's definitely a huge market for such bikes, especially dual-purpose bikes, and if it's a Honda name. However, what we are getting now is the Africa Twin 1100, CRF 1100, which is geared towards more on adventure biking. Even though they have the rally version, the off-road version, but I believe at 1100cc and such a heavy bike, it won't be able to do as well as those pure off-road or dirt bikes. On the other spectrum, they have the more affordable CB500X. However, having said that, it is also geared towards on-road riding. I really hope that Honda will be able to stay true to the Africa Twin lineage by releasing a true dual-purpose Africa Twin model with a capacity of maybe say 750 to 850cc, with a V-twin engine and with a wet weight of 200 kg, and I believe there'll be a huge demand for these bikes. Come on, it's Africa Twin. You have to honor the legacy and the legendary name of Africa Twin. Honda, please do something about it. Then what about Suzuki? As I mentioned earlier, Suzuki had their famous and legendary Dr. Beat, the DR800. If you know about the DR800, it is also a Dakar rally racer. It is at that time the largest single-cylinder bike. Suzuki used to have a fabulous lineup of bikes, from dirt bikes, dual-purpose, all the way to adventure, which is the V-Strom. But now, Suzuki is just basically putting up V-Strom as the adventure bike and the dual-purpose bike because they have the 658 model as well. So moving on, for the coming few years, I do hope Suzuki will be able to release a new model which is based off their Dr. Beat, the DR800. Okay, what's the conclusion then? Looking at the success of the 2020 Tenere 700, despite having no color TFT display screen, no electronic rider aids, it proves that there is still a high demand for such bikes, especially dual-purpose bikes. Furthermore, in the current market where it is too saturated with all the different types of adventure bikes that you have from all the manufacturers, whenever you ride out on the road, the only bikes you will ever see is just BMW GS or the GSA, or at most the KTM 1290 or Ducati Multistrada. That's it. That's what you see on the roads nowadays. Manufacturers, they are too focused on horsepower figures, the performance numbers, but they've totally forgot about their legacies. My final say is, I hope Honda and Suzuki will go back to their racing roots and just look at their current model lineups and hopefully launch actual dual-purpose bikes, actual Africa Twins, and actual replacement and new models for Dr. Beat, the DR800. Alright, so if you like the content of this video, please give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you!